Walmart sells its own TV antennas under its own brand. One of the cheapest models is this thin flat panel antenna that costs a little over $12. I usually avoid small and inexpensive indoor TV antennas, but there was something on the box here that caught my eye that made me want to test it out and compare it to some of the better performing indoor TV antennas that I have here. I bought this antenna while I was traveling in upstate New York. I checked out some of the other antennas they were offering. Right now, I'm gonna hook this up to this smart TV outside of my office and compare the channel lineup to two other indoor TV antennas that I recently tested, the Channel Master FLATenna and the ClearStream Eclipse. So the box just has two items. It has, of course, this very small TV antenna, and it has adhesive strips that you can place on the back to mount it on the wall. You may be able to see that there are also two pinholes on the back in case you want to use push pins or tacks. I'm going to try these adhesive strips, and we'll see how many channels we get. So while we're waiting for the channel scan, I'll just say my expectations here are pretty low. Generally speaking, a bigger antenna is better at picking up your local channels, even with indoor models like this one. The Walmart antenna, it's pretty small. It measures just under 12 inches wide, and it's not even 4 inches tall. Another thing I'm not crazy about is the cable. The cord is permanently attached to the antenna, so if the wire ever breaks or it gets damaged, you basically have to throw out the whole unit unless you know how to fix it. But you know what? The antenna cost me $12.37, and at that price, I'm willing to give it a little leeway. If this were a $30 or $40 indoor antenna, I'd be a lot more critical about that. Okay, so in case you didn't see the screen, I got 58 channels from this antenna, which really isn't bad at all. And before I dive into how that compares to the other antennas that I've tested here, I just want to mention that I'm planning on buying and reviewing a few more antennas from Walmart, and I'm putting together a full guide on the best TV antennas that you can buy at a local Walmart store. You'll be able to find that review at antennaland.com. So when I tested the Channel Master FLATenna on this same TV and set up in the same spot, I got 62 channels total, and that included major networks such as NBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC, along with a few popular subchannels like MeTV and Comet. When I used the ClearStream Eclipse here, I got even more channels. It pulled in a total of 70, and it grabbed a few extra low-powered stations like Grit and some independent stations that are in my TV market. This room outside of my office is actually a basement level room, so it's definitely not the most ideal spot to set up a TV antenna, and actually it's facing in the opposite direction of most of my local TV towers. So I would say that is definitely another positive for this little Walmart antenna. My overall takeaway here is if you want the maximum number of channels, a ClearStream Eclipse is definitely the better buy. Even though it's advertised as a multi-directional antenna, it does have a very narrow focus, which I think is a plus when it comes to being able to focus on specific TV stations. So from what I've seen here today, if you want to maximize your channel lineup, the ClearStream Eclipse is still among the strongest performers that you can buy, although it does cost nearly twice as much as this cheap Walmart antenna. You're going to maximize your channel lineup, and it should work well if you live within a 20 to 25 mile radius of your local TV towers. Oh, and if you're wondering what was on the box that caught my eye and made me want to buy this antenna, it's this right here, the range claim. You see a lot of TV antennas on the market that make these outrageous claims of being able to get TV stations from 100 miles, 200 miles away. Walmart actually rates this antenna as having a 25-mile range. Now, range to me is really a red herring. It's not something that really tells you anything about the design or gain of an antenna. But, this is sort of an honest shot at marketing, so Walmart gets some points for that in my book. One last tip, if you're located between two TV markets like I am, or you are close to your broadcast towers, you really want to use an antenna like this without an amplifier. Oftentimes that can get you better results, and you have to remember that amplifiers can overload strong signals, and that can hurt your reception instead of helping it. All three of the antennas that were tested here behind me were without an amplifier. So yeah, for a $12 antenna, I'd say this is an okay buy. If you're someone who is on a really tight budget and you want something that will work for you, and you live 10 or 15 miles away from your broadcast towers, this should be fine. If you're dealing with broadcast towers that are a little bit harder to get, if you live 30 or 40 miles away from your local TV station towers, then you're really going to want to turn to an outdoor antenna, even if there's one just mounted in your attic. Anyway, it's pretty interesting to see Walmart stepping into the antenna game with prices this low. I'll be watching and covering what else they do over at antennaland.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.